This is breaking news.
Texas A&M's Board of Regents due to meet in about an hour and a half, and the only item on their agenda is to discuss the search for the next president of the main A&M campus. And according to our news partners at the Texas Tribune, there will be a lone finalist for that position as of tonight, and he's coming from the Northwest. Michael K. Young has been serving as the president of the University of Washington since July of 2011. That's the second time he's been a major institution's leader. Prior to going to Seattle, he spent 7 years at the helm of the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. His undergraduate education was in that same state, Brigham Young, and then he went to law school at Harvard. But for 20 years, he taught law at Columbia University while working on a variety of national and international projects that you can read all about at kbtx.com. Now, the law expert is reportedly set to lead a school that just recently acquired a law school and has its roots in agriculture and engineering. The presidential role isn't one Young thought that he would ever take on at any institution. This past June, he spoke to the president of the University of Washington's Japanese student group.
Well, I never intended to become an academic, so, and even when I became an academic, becoming a university president was the furthest thing from my mind. In fact, I had a colleague in law school, I remember asking him one time what he really wanted to do with his life. And he said he wanted to be a university president. And I thought that was the strangest goal that I'd ever heard of. Who wanted to be a university president? He apparently did and never became one, and I didn't, or at least I never thought about it. And I did, but no, believe me, this was not in the career plan. So I suppose is another small piece of advice, which is, I have loved my career, but a big part of it has been just taking advantage of opportunities as they arise, evaluating how do I do good in the world? What can I do that really might make a difference? And then sometimes it takes you in very different directions than you might anticipate, but that's okay.
After spending several years at the University of Utah, you transferred from the Utah to the University of Washington. So why did you move from that university to University of Washington?
Well, you know, a lot of people have asked me that question because I came here during the worst economic downturn the university had ever suffered. We had a 52% cut in our state funding for the university. And everybody said, you know, things are going really well for you in Utah. We built 2 million square feet of space. We moved the university up in the rankings. We're doing a lot of things. They said, why would you possibly leave? And the answer is, it's a superb university. I mean, it's one of the best in the world. You look at these international rankings, and it's consistently ranked the 14th or 15th or 16th best university in the world, not just in the United States, but in the entire world. And it deserves that reputation. But more importantly, from my perspective, I think we're undergoing a lot of change and transformation in higher education. The demographics of our student body are different. The way students have learned and grown up in the past decades, very different than prior generations. The technology is changing the kind of research we can do. It's changing the way students learn. Our funding streams have changed really very different and profound ways. So just lots of changes occurring in higher education. And yet I think the great public universities are one of America's absolute critical assets. In many ways, you can trace a great deal of the success of America to the great public universities. And so, as these transformations are occurring, in my judgment, it's very important we get it right.
Young went on to praise the University of Washington as a premier institution, but it is one that he seems to be on the brink of leaving. He was also asked what advice he would give to students, including one that you probably wouldn't expect from a Harvard Law graduate.
Well, study harder than I did. That's my first piece of advice. But no, I give students the same advice here that I think was really important for me, which is explore. You know, you have some things you know you want to do, and pursue those. Pursue things, but also explore some things that you might not have expected that you would like, and you may not like them, but you may find a lot of ideas, a lot of passions, a lot of interests being open to you by taking courses, that you wouldn't really have anticipated. I saw a real firsthand example of that. My wife went to college quite a bit later in life. She didn't start till she was 36, and the very last course she took, she studied psychology and social development and neurobiology and so forth. But the very last course she took was simply to get enough credits to graduate. It was a class on the Antarctic. And I think it was the most interesting class she said she'd ever had. In fact, I found it really interesting. We read her homework together every night. It was fascinating. So you just never know where those passions are going to come from and what's really going to educate you and inform you and who you really are at this age. And it's wonderful to explore, I think.
It was June of 2013 that Arbo and Lofton announced he would be stepping down as the president of Texas A&M. A search committee was announced to find his replacement in August. And Lofton later announced he would be leaving A&M to take on the equivalent role at the University of Missouri. AgriLife Dean Mark Hussey has been serving as the interim president for more than a year now. January of 2014 is when he started. He said he never wanted the presidency full time. The Board of Regents for A&M meets starting at 5:30 tonight. We will have more on the discussion and any decisions concerning this man expected, or any others. That is this evening on News 3.